Live from the National News Studio, Sri Lanka.
Good evening. This is the National News Telecast. I'm Movin Hettiarachi.
And I'm Malsha Dharmavardhana. We begin with the headlines.
The 22nd Amendment to the Constitution gazetted. The President says benefits of the developing economy should be passed on to the general public. Lanka Sathosa reduces prices of several consumer goods. A new online passport application system. Minister Bandula says no election will be held this year apart from the presidential election. Former Australian Prime Minister Scott Morrison says President Ranil Wickremesinghe has achieved the extraordinary in restabilizing the country. Global transport and other sectors struck by IT failure. Tarushi and Chamod become best athletes of the National Sports Festival.
On to those and other stories in detail now, starting with your local story. 22nd Amendment of the Constitution has been notified by the Gazette under an order of President Ranil Wickremesinghe. The Gazette notification states that the term of President's office mentioned in the Constitution A of the 83rd segment of the Constitution will be changed. Accordingly, instead of the term exceeding 6 years, will be replaced by the amendment term exceeding 5 years. It also states that if there is any incompliance in the Sinhala and Tamil version of this segment, then the Sinhala version must be effective. Elections Commission Saman Shri Ratnayaka said that the Election Commission of any country has to act according to the provisions given in the Constitution. The Election Commission is bound to act in pursuant to the terms given in the Constitution. Accordingly, the Election Commission is vested with the relevant power on the 17th of this month, whereby the Commission will take measures to issue the relevant Gazette notification within the next week.
Some politicians expressed their views regarding the 22nd Amendment to the Constitution. SJB parliamentarian Pamantha Dissanayake said that the government is getting ready to present the 22nd Amendment to the Constitution. It is questionable why the government attempts to do this before an election. The SJB view is that it is not necessary at this juncture. People need a presidential election at this moment. UNP parliamentarian Vajra Abeyewardena said that there is no problem according to the Constitution to hold a presidential election before the 17th of October. This amendment to the Constitution is not connected with the election. It is correct a certain legal condition mentioned in the 82A clause of the Constitution. SJB parliamentarian Mujibur Rahman said that the Election Commission is vested with the relevant powers by the Constitution. Therefore, it is the responsibility of the Election Commission to announce the date of the presidential election. The Election Commission should stand for the rights of the people and the democracy without being subjected to the pressures of President and government. SLPP parliamentarian Tissa Kuttiarachi said the SJB is aware that it cannot win with Sajith Premadasa. On the other hand, JUP and NPP are not in good terms at present. Therefore, Anurukumara Dissanayake will lose the race. The candidate who gets the support of the SLPP will win the election. President Ranil Wickremesinghe stated that while the government is inviting large-scale investors from both domestic and international sources to explore new investment opportunities in rebuilding Sri Lanka, it is also implementing a program to support small and medium-scale businesses that were affected by the recent economic crisis.
The President made these remarks during a meeting with the representatives of Passenger Transport Three-Wheeler Association held yesterday at the Sri Lanka Exhibition and Convention Centre in Colombo. Former President added that the benefits of Sri Lanka's economic progress should be extended to the general public. He emphasized his commitment to this responsibility and vowed never to deviate from this responsibility. He also highlighted that the government has taken special measures to support this goal. President Ranil Wickremesinghe said that several suggestions have been made regarding the professional development of three-wheeler drivers. He said that these proposals need to be implemented and we must engage with relevant associations to ensure their successful execution. He said that professional regulations are necessary and we acknowledge their importance. He said that it is up to you to determine the best approach. We must also consider welfare aspects. The President said that in 2023, the arrival of foreign tourists also played a significant role. He added that the influx of tourists strengthened the economy of three-wheeler drivers. He said that farmers support food production, while three-wheeler drivers contribute to transporting tourists. He added that these two sectors have collectively helped in reviving the country's economy. He said that to advance the country's economy, we need both local and foreign investors. He said that this will not only create more employment opportunities, but also boost exports. The President said that as we focus on economic development, we must remember those who suffered during the last crisis. He said that his primary goal is to ensure that the benefit of this country progress reach the general public. He said that the government implemented the Aswasama program, tripling the funds allocated for the welfare benefit and increasing the number of beneficiaries. He said that during the last New Year season, we provided 10 kilograms of rice for them for 2 months. He said that the Urumaya program was introduced to the great freehold land rights and arrangements were made to the transfer ownership of flats in the urban area to the residents. He said that additionally, we are planning to establish plantation villages. These efforts are all aimed at improving the lives of ordinary citizens. He said that we are inviting large-scale investors, both domestic and international, to invest in the country. Today, under his leadership, the country is moving in the right direction. He said that three-wheeler industry, which employs over 800,000 people, face significant challenges due to the country's past political instability. He said that it is essential to regulate this profession. He said that with the current stability, foreign tourists are returning to Sri Lanka and three-wheel drivers are playing a vital role in supporting tourism industry.
Former Prime Minister of Australia Scott Morrison says that President Ranil Wickremesinghe has achieved the extraordinary to re-stabilize the country after the economic crisis. He made these remarks addressing the Sri Lanka Human Capital Summit 2024 held yesterday at Temple Trees. Sri Lanka Human Capital Summit 2024 held yesterday under the theme Unlocking Sri Lanka's Economic Potential by Building a Future-Ready Workforce under the patronage of President Ranil Wickremesinghe, focusing on nurturing, harnessing and amplifying human capital. The Human Capital Summit was inaugurated in 2016 based on the concept introduced by President Ranil Wickremesinghe during his tenure as Prime Minister. The President aimed to establish a platform that would bring all stakeholders together to address the skills challenges facing Sri Lanka. This initiative aims to go beyond mere economic growth and transform Sri Lanka from a lower middle income economy to a developed nation.
We're on stage to hand over tokens of appreciation to our chief guest and guest of honor.
It was mentioned that nearly 400,000 Sri Lankans left this country in 2022. The number that left us in 2023 is been similar, little less I would say. This will continue. Numbers will drop, it will continue. But we can stem it by about 2026, 2027 if we undertake the fundamental economic reforms that are necessary. The bankruptcy of our nation made them realize that we can't go on as it is. Life is going to be more difficult. They had to look after their children's education, they had to pay their debts, the money wasn't sufficient, so they decided to leave. We fixed our salaries when rupees, we had 185 rupees to $1. We fixed our prices when there's 300 rupees to a dollar. So can you imagine how a middle class executive can exist? What we have done so far is to ensure that the creditors of our nation, both sovereign states and private entities, have recognized that we have the capacity to repay their debt after the concessions given to us. When I brought the economic transformation bill, one party in parliament went to courts and said it should be rejected because we require import substitution economy. So first and foremost, we must get out of our heads that there are no such thing called an import substitution economy. How do you substitute for your economy, for your imports? You still need the raw material abroad. So what we have to first undertake and commit ourselves is to a highly competitive, modern, export-oriented economy. We have to get the rest of Sri Lanka also to agree to it. That's a small problem. Nevertheless, I think you have the opportunity now, and most of the people in our country feel so, that there has to be a fundamental change in the economy. When you do that, we will realize the sectors we require people. We have about 300,000 to 400,000 acres of land to be cultivated through modern methods. We have land held by the villagers where agriculture can be modernized. If we go up to 8 metric tons of rice per hectare, we will only need 2/3 of the land for rice cultivation. To refer to economic cooperation with India, we've decided on an integrated system of integrating, we will have power connectivity, but of all the sectors, the most important one will be land connectivity. Then the Tamil Nadu economy, which competes with Maharashtra and Gujarat, together with Andhra and Telangana, will have to use the ports, can use the ports of Sri Lanka, Trincomalee and Colombo. That's going to make a big difference for them and for us. So there are many areas that we have identified, which we have to expand. And we must be friendly to foreign investment, and more than that, also friendly to local investment. The private sector, big and small, has to expand. There are no other way. Now within this framework, yes, we must look at our human capital formation. Without having financial capital, you can't develop your human capital. We can't tackle everything at the same time. So first, we have to look at the vocational and the technical sector.
When it comes to priority, first things first is what should drive your most immediate attention. And in this respect, I want to pay tribute to what the President has achieved here in one of Sri Lanka's most difficult moments. And it has been heartbreaking from across the other side of the Indian Ocean to see the many challenges that the people of Sri Lanka have gone through over many, many years. Some of those natural disasters, other those economic calamities. There has been war. There has been every manner of challenge that the people of Sri Lanka have had to face. But you have been resilient, and you are here, and you are pressing forward. We talk about having a workforce for tomorrow and a future for tomorrow. Well, you've got to get to tomorrow first. And that's where I think the President has done an extraordinary job after the economic crisis of just 2 years ago to be able to bring stability. And they go to the stabilisation of your economy, the courageous plan that has been put in place over fiscal repair, on revenue reforms, on debt restructuring, on strengthening institutional financial settings and the independence of your central bank, on prudential controls in your banking system, important reforms to your state-owned enterprises, improved transparency and everything from procurement and how foreign investment occurs in Sri Lanka, anti-corruption safeguards, the recasting of the social safety net. All of these things which President Wickremesinghe has been leading are so vital to Sri Lanka's future that you actually don't even get to talk about a workforce in the future unless you can continue the commitment and determination to address those challenges. I would come and reinforce the urgency of staying on that path, in the years ahead. Moving away from that path will ensure that not just foreign investors, of which this gathering also addresses, but the confidence of international institutions and agencies, many of them whom represented here today, will lose confidence. What the government has done to restore that confidence, to restructure debt, to get the economy stabilised, to stabilise currency, to get inflation under control, that is setting up your opportunity for tomorrow.
Major IT outages have industries across the world. Almost 1,400 flights are cancelled and banking, healthcare and shops affected. Cybersecurity firm CrowdStrike says a defect in one of its software updates hit the Windows operating systems. A fix has been deployed, the company says, but admits it could become some time before systems are fully back up and running. Australian Sky News spent most of the morning off air as broadcasters also faced issues with Australia's ABC unable to function properly for 6 hours. In the UK, train payments in shops, pharmacies and GP surgeries have been hit. Supermarkets, Morrison says, its earlier problem have been fixed. National Health Services in UK is being widely affected, including in service, desk transport booking system, radiology reporting, a system used by GPS to enable patients to book appointments or request repeat prescriptions. Top UK officials met for an emergency Cobra meeting a little later, as Number 10 says it isn't aware of the outage affecting government business. Turkish airline, Turkey's flag carrier, had confirmed it is affected by the massive global IT outage. 84 of its flights to and from Istanbul have been cancelled. Now, Prime Minister Dinesh Gunawardena says that UNESCO has a major role for the well-being of the school leavers and the youth who are looking for opportunities. The Prime Minister made these remarks participating in the 75th anniversary celebration of the UNESCO held at BMICH recently.
I am privileged to be at this celebration of 75th anniversary of the UNESCO Sri Lanka partnership. As Sri Lanka is one of the main nations with a historical civilizational base in the world, in the United Nations family, especially the civilizational marvel of over 15 centuries, long capital city of Anuradhapura city. 76 years ago, we obtained our independence from the colonial rule. That was after successful destruction over 2.5 million of heritage rich of education, science and cultural values. Ever since our great partnership with the UNESCO over the past 3/4 of a century, it has immensely helped us gain a multitude of support to restore our rich heritage and even go on to get special attention for 8 or more special sites be listed as UNESCO World Heritage Sites. Since its inception in 1945, UNESCO has done a human service in the fields of education, culture, science, to foster a dialogue among the civilizations, enhance understanding of cultures and people, promote commonly shared values, and contribute towards sustainable development. Madam, UNESCO has been able to play a pivotal role in global affairs by fostering cultural diversity, intercultural dialogue, and a culture of peace and building inclusive knowledge societies through information and communication.
Today is a red letter day for UNESCO Sri Lanka. We are here to celebrate the 75th anniversary of UNESCO Sri Lanka relations and the progress we have achieved. On behalf of the government of Sri Lanka, I, as the Minister of Education and the Chairman of the UNESCO National Commission, warmly welcome the Director General of UNESCO, Madame Audrey Azoulay, who is making her first visit to our country. Your presence today signifies the importance you attach to the enduring bond that unites the relationship between the UNESCO and our country. In journey of 75 years, we have shared and promoted the goals of UNESCO for significant developments in the spheres of education, scientific research and applications, and cultural enrichment. Recognizing the need of strengthening this partnership, we have now taken steps to establish the Sri Lanka National Commission for UNESCO by an Act of Parliament in line with Article 7 of the UNESCO Constitution.
It's for me a privilege and a pleasure to be here in Colombo to celebrate 75 years of friendship and rich cooperation between Sri Lanka and UNESCO, and to do so at the invitation of His Excellency the President Wickremesinghe Singhe. I would like to thank you all for your presence with us today, and you've seen through the remarkable films, or soon you'll see also the book, that we have indeed much to celebrate. I would also like to thank not only all those who here in Sri Lanka are working every day with UNESCO, but also the international community, because many countries support our efforts in Sri Lanka, and I'd like to particularly mention the UK, France, Japan, the Republic of Korea, and Italy. And of course, UNESCO is also, and maybe was first, about education, to defend quality education for all, to encourage better ways of living with each other and with the planet. I know how committed Sri Lanka is to this issue, notably by being a partner in our Greening Education Partnership, a partnership that aims to ensure that environmental education is mainstreamed across all curricula to better prepare the next generations for the challenges of climate disruption, especially here in a part of the world experiencing more than others the severity of climate disruption.
Lanka South has reduced the prices of several essential consumer items with effect from today. Accordingly, 1,500 rupees per kilo of undu has been reduced up to 1,400 rupees per kilo. A 400-gram packet of milk powder has been reduced by 40 rupees up to the new price of 510 rupees. A kilo of wheat flour has been reduced by 10 rupees to a new price of 180 rupees. 265 rupees kilo of sugar is now sold at 260 rupees. A kilo of white raw rice has been reduced by 4 rupees and a kilo of kiri samba variety by 2 rupees.
A new system has been introduced to apply for passports for the benefit of the applicants. Accordingly, a date and time should be reserved online. A group who had come to the Department of Immigration and Immigration without knowing this situation staged a protest in front of the office this morning. Department of Immigration and Immigration states that date and time should be reserved online for both one-day and normal service. Today, the department gave opportunity for persons who have reserved a date and time online. Then other applicants started this chaotic situation in front of the office. Then the police and the riot squad arrived there and controlled the situation. Controller General of the Immigration and Immigration, ISHJ Irupitiya, expressed his views in this connection. He said that the department informed this matter to the public by issuing an announcement through the media last Tuesday. From today, it is compulsory to reserve a date and time online to get passports. However, some persons have come to the office unaware of this fact. Because of this matter, a chaotic situation occurred in front of the passport office. Any person can reserve a date and time through our website www.immigration.gov.lk. Applicants should, after reserving the date, they should come before 12 noon. He said that hereafter applicants will be received from the applications who have reserved a date and time online only. Within the new system, a passport can be issued within 1 hour.
Minister Dr. Banduru Radha says that no other election except the presidential election will be held in this year. A sum of 10 billion rupees has been allocated from the budget this year for the presidential election. The minister made these remarks at the opening of the recently completed Dulgala-Kandava via Narangala Road in Yatyanthota. A sum of 34 million rupees was spent for the 1.4 kilometer road project. Minister Dr. Banduru Radha said that some say that a general election will be held. First, it is clearly stated in the constitution that a new president should be sworn in before the 17th of October. Therefore, the government has already allocated a sum of 10 billion rupees from the last budget to hold the presidential election at the due date. A general election cannot be conducted since the funds have not been allocated. The IMF has said the country is running along a very difficult route at present. Therefore, the only leader who can lead the country with a proper economic vision is Ranil Wickremesinghe.
Government has taken measures to modernize the Hirakuda domestic airport for international aircraft operation. The construction of this airport was launched today under the patronage of Minister Nimalsiri Pala de Silva. The domestic airport has been constructed during the period of Second World War for the Royal Air Force of England. It was popular those days as the Mingnadia Air Force Camp. The government has allocated 2 billion rupees from this year's budget for the parliamentary construction of the project. Under the first stage, the runway is scheduled to be expanded up to 2,500 meters. The constructions are to be completed within a period of 6 months. The Ministry of Ports, Naval and Aviation Services says that upon completion of construction, 320 Airbuses and Boeing B737 aircraft can be operated in this airport. Minister Nimalsiri Pala de Silva said that the government was able to allocate 2 billion rupees for this project since the president has saved some money through his economic program.
Dr. Hizumi Urato, the head of the Japanese delegation visiting Sri Lanka, lauded the successful completion of the Sri Lanka's debt restructuring process, noting that it has paved the way for the resumption of Japanese official development assistance projects. These projects, which include several initiatives that were suspended last period, are now poised to restart, signaling a renewed phase of cooperation and development. Dr. Hirato highlighted that the international community is confident in President Ranil Wickremesinghe's leadership is strongly reflected in the expedited success of the debt restructuring agreements. This achievement, accomplished in partnership with the Official Creditors Committee and the International Monetary Fund, underscores a remarkable turnaround for Sri Lanka. The high-level Japanese delegation, comprising representatives from housing, construction and urban sectors, met with President Ranil Wickremesinghe at the Presidential Secretariat this morning. During the meeting, Dr. Izumi Hirato highlighted the successful completion of Sri Lanka's debt restructuring process and announced that projects under Japanese official development assistance, including previously suspended, are set to resume. The discussion also focused on the investment opportunities in Sri Lanka, emphasizing the potential for enhanced cooperation between the two nations. The delegation expressed their appreciation for Sri Lanka's economic progress and the swift achievement of the debt restructuring agreements in collaboration with the Official Creditors Committee and the International Monetary Fund. They praised President Wickremesinghe's leadership in navigating the country through its financial challenges, which restored the international confidence and paved the way for renewed development initiatives. President Ranil Wickremesinghe, recalling Japan's invaluable support during Sri Lanka's debt restructuring process, emphasized Sri Lanka's commitment to deepening economic cooperation with Japan across various sectors, including education, agri and agriculture and modernization. President stressed the importance of receiving stalled projects under Japanese cooperation to further strengthen the bilateral relations. Additionally, President Wickremesinghe highlighted the critical role of the Colombo dockyard, underscoring its significance as a key institution in Sri Lanka's maritime and industrial landscape. The Japanese delegation noted that several projects are currently suspended, including the Bandaranaike International Airport Development Project, the Colombo Port Eastern Terminal Development Project, the Central Expressway construction, and the Digital Broadcasting Project. These can be promptly restarted. Additionally, the delegation highlighted the potential to resume a light railway transit, which was halted by the previous government. They are actively assessing the locations to re-implement this project, recognizing its significant potential to alleviate traffic congestion in Colombo city. Both sides emphasized the significance of a public-private partnership in executing housing for low-income earners and other urban development projects. It was also highlighted that the government of Sri Lanka is committed to promote environmentally friendly projects and renewable energy in line with the policies of the international agreements. The Japanese delegation expressed their willingness to the president to recruit Sri Lankan graduates in the fields of technology for job opportunities in Japan's private sector. This initiative aims to improve electricity supply in Japan. The Japanese delegation also highlighted the joint credit mechanism, which encompasses projects designed to promote environmental sustainability in utilizing advanced Japanese technology to reduce carbon dioxide emissions. Chief of Presidential Staff, Senior Advisor to the President on National Security, Sagara Ratnayaka, Japanese Ambassador to Sri Lanka, Mizuko Hideki, and several others were present at this discussion.
Distribution of certificates for the students who followed the diploma and higher diploma courses at the Sri Lanka Plastic and Rubber Institute was held recently at the BMICH premises. Chairman of the Sri Lanka Rupavahini Corporation, Professor Sudhantha Liyanage, graced this occasion as the chief guest. 152 students who completed diploma and higher diploma courses were provided with certificates at the ceremony. These courses are conducted for the students who are engaged in plastic and rubber industry sector and students who expect to find jobs in this field. One-year courses are available for Sri Lanka Plastic and Rubber Institute. Director General of the Institute, Chaminda Pereira, and many others were present at this occasion. Chairman of the Sri Lanka Rupavahini Corporation, Professor Sudhantha Liyanage, said that although we think the online education is better, it has problems in having group work. Our education system is somewhat selfish at present. Students do not like to share their knowledge. They want to pass exams by mean. Because of online education, students become more selfish and isolated without human interaction.
We'll be back with foreign news after a short break.
Kamu dah macam prima kotumi fantamai.
Taking a look at your international news, dozens of people have been killed in Bangladesh as nationwide students protest over the allocation of civil service jobs took an increasingly violent turn. Student demonstrators continue to clash with police and pro-government activists after days of protests, with government buildings torched and telecommunications severely disrupted. The death toll from the violence have risen to 32, with majority in the capital Dhaka. Others were killed in protest in nearby eastern city of Chittagong.
Kamu dah macam prima kotumi fantamai.
Taking a look at your sports news. Now, Tharushi Karunaratne of the Central Province was honoured as the best athlete of the 48th National Sports Festival.
The best athlete is Chamod Yodasinghe of the Sabargamba Province. The National Sports Festival concluded today at the Sugandasa Stadium. Tashikara Ratna won the 400 meters women's running event with a time of 52.69 seconds. Pasindu Kodikara of Northwestern Province won the 400 meters men's running event in 46.6 seconds. Nyam Nimali Arachi of Southern Province became the first in the 1500 meters women's running event. The Vacation of the Central Province won the men's event. T.A. Muthukumarna of Uva Province became the fastest female athletes of the National Sports Festival. Chamodyo Singha was honoured as the fastest male athlete of the festival. Central Province won the 400 meters mixed relay event. Olympic aces Anuradharshana Tharushikaranratna and brother of Tharushi Harshakaranratna represented the winning team.
ඒව ජයග්‍රාහී කණ්ඩායමට ඇතුළත් වුණා.
මට විශ්වාසයි තරුෂි කරුණාරත්න මේ තරගයේදී අන්තිම පළාතේ ක්‍රීඩකයාත් තරුෂි කරුණාරත්න ක්‍රීඩකයන්
ලබාගත්තු ආරම්භය තරුෂි මධ්‍යම පළාත
අපි සාමාන්‍යයෙන් ක්‍රීඩිකාවකගේ නමක් කිව්වත් බය වෙනවානේ. අපේ රටේ තරුෂි කියන්නේ තරුවක්. ඉතින් ඒක නිසා ඇයට මේ ජයග්‍රහණය කළ යුතුමයි. රටෙන් ශ්‍රී ලංකාව නියෝජනය කරන්නේ
මෙවර 48 වන ජාතික ක්‍රීඩා තරගාවලියේ විශිෂ්ටතම ක්‍රීඩිකාව තරුෂි
Western Province won the entire championship of the National Sports Festival.
ජාතික මහා ක්‍රීඩාවලියේ සමස්ත ශූරතාව හිමි කරගත්තේ බස්නාහිර පළාතයි.
Kamuda machan, prima kotumi, fantamai.
That's it for tonight's English News telecast. Thank you for joining us. Good night.
Good night.
நான்கு தசாப்த காலமாக நாட்டிலே ஏராளமான லட்சாதிபதிகளையும் கோடீஸ்வரர்களையும் அதிர்ஷ்டசாலிகளையும் உருவாக்கும் நாம் இன்றைய நாளிலும் அதே எதிர்பார்ப்போடு உங்களை சந்தித்திருக்கின்றோம். இது உங்கள் நம்பிக்கைக்குரிய டிஎல்பி லாட்டரி ஷோ. இன்று ஜூலை மாதம் 19ஆம் தேதி இன்றைய நாளுக்குரிய சீட்லிப்புகள் உங்களுக்காக காத்திருக்கின்றன. எனினும் சீட்லிப்புகளை பார்வையிடுவதற்கு முன்னராக சில மகிழ்ச்சிகரமான ஞாபகப்படுத்தல்களை உங்களுக்காக நாங்கள் வழங்கப் போகின்றோம். முதலாவது விடயம், டிஎல்பி ஸ்வீப் ஆப்பின் மூலமாக நீங்கள் இருந்த இடத்திலிருந்தே இப்பொழுது லொத்தர் டிக்கெட்டுகளை கொள்ளுணவு செய்ய முடியும். அதற்கு நீங்கள் செய்ய வேண்டியது உங்களுடைய கையடக்க தொலைபேசிக்கு டிஎல்பி ஸ்வீப் ஆப்பினை டவுன்லோட் செய்து கொள்வதுதான். நீங்கள் பயன்படுத்துவது ஆப்பிள் ஐபோனாக இருப்பின் ஆப் ஸ்டோரின் ஊடாகவும், நீங்கள் பயன்படுத்துவது ஆண்ட்ராய்டு வகை தொலைபேசியாக இருப்பின் www.dlb.lk/apps எனும் இணைப்பை தொடர்ந்தும் டிஎல்பி ஸ்வீப் ஆப்பினை டவுன்லோட் செய்யலாம். டவுன்லோட் செய்து எண்ணம் போல லொத்தர் டிக்கெட்டுகளை நீங்கள் இருந்த இடத்திலிருந்தே கொள்ளுணவு செய்து வெற்றி வாய்ப்புகளை அதிகரித்துக் கொள்ளுங்கள். இது மாத்திரமன்று இன்றைய தினம் இடம்பெறக்கூடிய சீட்லிப்புகளில்